Now let's begin looking at the actual liberties that you have. And we'll start, as the Constitution does, with freedom of religion. This is in the First Amendment, and what it says is Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Now, if you listen to that sentence, what you're going to figure out real quick is there's actually two parts to this. The Establishment Clause, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, says that Congress will not endorse or support any religion. Remember, we had come from a time when pretty much every country in the world had a state-sponsored religion. And our founding fathers didn't want us to have that. Now, there's been a lot of debate, of course, about what this exactly means. Some people say it just means that there can't be a state-sponsored religion. But other people argue that there must be a wall of separation, which is Thomas Jefferson's phrase, between the church and the state. And the courts have traditionally interpreted this to mean that the government can show no favoritism towards any particular religious belief. Now, one place this comes up is in religious schools. Can government money go to a religious school? And this was resolved by the courts in Lemon v. Kurtzman. This is a 1971 case about public funds going to a religious school. And here's what the court says. The court says that, yes, religious schools can get public money, but they can't spend it on religious activities. So it has to be spent on what we call a secular legislative purpose. So, for example, if a religious school gets money and they spend it on Bibles, that's unconstitutional. If they get money and they spend it to build a parking lot, totally constitutional. If government money pays the math teacher, you're fine. If your government money pays your theology teacher, that's a violation of the Constitution. This is called the Lemon Test, and this determines largely how government money can be spent by religious institutions. A related case in 2002 is Zelman v. Simmons Harris, and this supported a program where government provided vouchers for private schools could be used to pay for religious education. Another place we see, there's the Zelman case. Another place we see this is a prayer in public schools. School-led religious prayer in public schools, it has been ruled, violates the Constitution. Now you may wonder about, in 1962 and again in 1963 in two cases, one Engle v. Vital and the other School District of Abington Township, Pennsylvania v. Shemp, the court rules that you cannot, even voluntarily, ask kids to engage in prayer as part of the school day. Now, you can have religious activities outside of the school day. If you want to have a meeting at the flagpole in the morning before school starts, even if it's teacher-led, that's fine. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes can meet in a coach's classroom after the school day is over. But an employee of the school cannot lead a religious activity during the school day. That's the way the Constitution has been interpreted. Places we see the Establishment Clause come into play are in issues like the teaching of creationism, the biblical story of creation. This has generally been ruled unconstitutional, although states like Kansas have recently tried to figure out ways around this, which we'll discuss in more detail in class. Another question is things like, can you set up a manger scene, a nativity scene on, let's say, the town hall, because that's government property, right? And the answer to this has been yes, you can, but you have to be willing to allow any religion to set up similar displays. You can't say, we're down with the nativity, but if the Muslims want to set up something, we're not doing that. As long as you treat all religions the same, you're fine, is the basic attitude of the court. The other part is the Free Exercise Clause, and this is the part about the government not stopping you from practicing your religion. Now, we should be clear about this because this also gets a little confusing. The landmark case here deals with Amish people who don't believe in sending their kids to school. And, of course, every state has laws requiring you to send your kids to school. And so the case is Wisconsin v. Yoder in 1972. And basically the court here makes a deal with the Amish in a way. They say that children have to go to school to the 8th grade, but high school is optional if you're Amish. And the principle here is the Constitution says you can believe anything you want, but it doesn't mean you can do anything you want. And so practice is separated from belief. So can you believe in, human sacrifice to your volcano god? Absolutely. Can you sacrifice somebody? No. And so the free exercise is pretty severely limited because you're not really allowed to exercise, you're allowed to believe. Otherwise, your religion can be curtailed. In 1998, in Employment Division v. Smith, this is an Oregon case, where a guy is fired from his government job for doing peyote, and he explains that he's a Native American and it's part of a religious ritual. And the courts say, well, you can believe that peyote has religious properties, but if it's illegal and you do it, you can still be punished for that. So anyway, that's a little bit about how free exercise has been interpreted. We see this a lot, particularly if you watch crime shows like Law and Order and stuff, where maybe a kid gets sick and the parents don't believe in medicine and they let the kid die, and then the court always comes in and says, well, that was negligent homicide, you killed him. You can believe he doesn't need medicine, but if he dies from you not giving him medicine, you're still at fault. So anyway, that's the first of our great rights, freedom of religion.